Shitter's full, Clark.
I don't really know what I'm doing, but basically I'm gonna put some of this in here.
Houston, we have a problem.
Typical adventure endeavor fashion.
After several hours of troubleshooting and going to the hardware store a couple times, I think we've got it figured out. What's up guys, Jesse and Melissa here with Adventure Endeavor. Today we are going to be installing a composting toilet in our new Grand Design Imagine travel trailer.
There's many reasons you would install one of these composting toilets, and the main reason for us is the fact that we love to boondock and we want to extend that life. We want to extend our tank.
Fresh tank
Gosh,
and
I
black
can't even
tank.
talk today. We want to extend all of our tanks. When you have something like this, obviously there's going to be less going into the black tank. A lot of people have nothing going in the black tank. We plan on routing just our urine into the black tank, and then the poopy will go in here.
Yeah, we basically want to have the option to route the urine into the black tank, and then if that fills, then we can use the external urine tank and then go dump it as needed.
What she said. Also, we've talked to a couple other full-timers, and we believe that over a course of 7 days, a normal toilet in an RV like this probably uses anywhere from 5 to 10 gallons of water. That's just going to extend our water that we have as well. We plan on modifying our pickup truck so we can truck water in very easily. So basically we can stay the maximum of 14 days at any location, and if not longer. Like right now we're in my parents' yard and we could just literally stay in this spot, never have to move it to dump the tank. So it provides a lot of freedom and flexibility.
So this is a Nature's Head composting toilet. It is a separating toilet.
A lot of people get bugged about when you say composting because, to be honest, you empty this out way faster than it even has time to compost. So it's more of a separating toilet. It separates the poopy and the urine into two different areas so they don't mix.
Because we're going to be using it so often that it won't fully compost?
Yeah, I've heard that you need almost up to 120 days to fully compost.
Okay.
But this starts the process.
Got it. I'll show you guys a little bit more about what the layout of this actual toilet is.
So, you have a toilet lid, just like a normal toilet. You open it up, bam. In here, there's two different areas. You got your poopy area, you got your pee-pee area. So when you pee, the pee goes in here and it normally fills your jug, or it diverts it, which we plan on trying to do, diverting it into the black tank. So we don't have to empty this on a daily basis. And then back here, you can't forget to open the trap, which is a lever over here. So you gotta open this lever, do your business, then close the lever, that's it. And the main thing with these toilets is to make sure that you're not getting liquids into the poopy area. Basically, what you're gonna do is when it gets full, they say anywhere from two weeks to 4 weeks, depending on how much use it gets, all of that. The solids container, the bottom part, will fill up. So what you would do is you would undo this, you would lift, and then you're gonna wiggle the top off, no big deal. This is where your solids are gonna be. You're gonna have some COCO core or some peat moss, whatever you wanna use in here. Obviously this won't be in here, that's extra. You're gonna be agitating throughout that whole month just to mix everything up. When it's full, you take all this stuff out and then you dump it into a safe place, which is normally like a trash bag. You kind of double bag it. You could put it in a dumpster. It's very similar to like a baby diaper or something like that. Or if you have land, you can obviously put it in your own land in a place where it's non-edible type of stuff that you're growing. Like you wouldn't want to put it with your tomatoes and then eat your tomatoes every day.
Right, but you could grow flowers and other plants that you're not going to be eating.
Yeah, so it seems weird, let's be honest, but it's also weird to store your poop in a tank under your trailer and haul it around with you and then have to dump it and see that and deal with that. So either way, poop is poop. And
question for you, do they make bags specifically for dumping the composted number 2.
They do make biodegradable composting bags, which is something I don't know if we're gonna do. We might as well, right?
Yeah, we should definitely look into that.
So those basically will break down a little bit easier and everything will go back to nature.
Less plastic in the environment is always a good thing.
So that's kind of the quick overview of the toilet. So we bought this toilet new in the box on Craigslist, used from somebody who ended up not wanting it.
They didn't actually use it, don't worry. We didn't buy an actually used toilet. Gross.
It was in the box. But it didn't, for some reason, you know, the box is a little messed up. It didn't come with certain things. Like, for some reason, it has 2 of the stirring handles. Don't know why. And then we ordered a couple things to go with it.
So what we have here is a giant brick of coconut coir, peat block. So this is going to be our composting mixture that we are going to put in the number 2 section of our toilet. Some people use peat moss or sawdust. So basically the way that it works is you break up a little chunk of it and then mix it with some water. So you want it to be like slightly damp, but not wet. Is that right?
In a sense, basically the water is just helping to break it up. I mean, you'd be better off sitting there and like breaking it up by hand and not adding water.
So you want it to be mostly dry.
The whole point of this toilet is to keep the poopies dry and the pee-pees separate. All right, so first thing you're gonna wanna do is if you're on city water, you're gonna wanna disconnect or shut off your water. Or for us right now, we're on our water pump, so we're gonna shut off the water pump and we're gonna go disconnect the toilet.
Okay, we are getting ready to disconnect our factory toilet.
Our travel trailer has your standard Dometic toilet. So obviously you're gonna wanna run the foot pedal to clear out any water that is still in the lines, in the system. That's the best we could do. We have just like a little Tupperware because most likely you're gonna spill a little water here. Have a towel ready. First thing we're gonna do is get the old toilet out. See, there you go, makes sense, you know? Because we ain't using no more of our water. We can cap this line, obviously that needs to be capped. And then the next thing is we gotta remove these caps and unbolt the toilet, and then that's it for getting the toilet out, simple.
So one of the benefits of doing this is that we're gonna save more water over time. So we're hopefully gonna have to fill up less and go to the dump station less because we'll be using a little bit less water. There are some areas, like mostly BLM managed areas, where you can legally dump gray water on the ground. Generally, the rule is you have to be like 100 to 200 yards away from any water source, like a river or a lake. But definitely, if you're looking into doing that, always check local regulations just to be sure before you do that. Houston, we have a problem. So it turns out that the base of this nature's head is a little bit too big for the space that we have. And that is one thing that apparently a lot of people don't like about this particular model.
The thing is that it would work fine if we didn't want to divert our urine into the black tank. But we're pretty sure we want to do that because we drink a lot of water and we pee a lot.
This is gonna have to be dumped like all the time.
So there's a couple options. We debated running our toilet this direction because now we're closer to our seal down here, to our hole down here to divert our urine. Melissa had an idea of building a little platform because that would give us a little more clearance, but then the toilet will be tall.
We wouldn't have to cut the flange off if we did that.
So we don't know what we're doing, you know? We don't really know right now. We're trying to figure it out.
This is typical Adventure Endeavor fashion, problem solving on the fly.
We're trying to figure everything out here. Next step is we're gonna do in our rig is we're gonna cap this water line. This is for the factory toilet, and we're gonna shove it in here. And then we're gonna try and use this same hole for the vent tube. You gotta vent these. Remember we talked about the 12-volt fan. Here's the power. We're gonna run the power cord with the vent all out the same hole. Day 2 on this composting toilet. So we totally overcomplicated things for ourselves. The reason being is because we really did not want to deal with the urine jug on a daily basis. This is the urine jug. Last night we tried the urine jug. We got it about halfway full just through the night, which is kind of sketchy because if you don't pay attention, you're gonna overflow it in the night, and that's no fun. Because of that, we had to kind of do some custom modifications. So I just want to show you guys how we did it. By means, probably not the right way, but it seems like it's gonna be a solid setup. So this is what we did. One of the things that we had to do, because we didn't want to, we could have just drilled a hole straight through our floor and straight into the black tank, put a pipe in there, and it would have been okay, right? Or I could have dropped the tank, drilled a hole, put a barb fitting in there, put a hose on with a hose clamp, but it's a lot of work to drop the black tank. So what we decided to do was we basically made a little frame out of 2x2. So it raised the toilet enough so we'd have clearance to run a line in. Basically, this is the line that's gonna get, this cap is gonna get glued into place, and it's just gonna go right down in. So we have this right angle, goes right down in. This is just some spa hose that we got at the Home Depot. I did have to melt the end to expand it to fit on right here, but it fits super well. We're gonna get one of those hose clamps where you could just do it by hand, so that way it's secure. And basically, we're just gonna be removing this top part like once a month when we gotta do the solids tank. So not really a big deal, and then overall we're gonna have, I think we have like 48 gallons of black space just for pee now. So it's just so much easier rather than dumping the thing once a day. That's just gonna go right down. I'm screwing this into the floor, and we're trying to keep it as well. I had to modify this a little bit. We're trying to keep it to where we can put it back to stock if needed. You can buy these flanges at Home Depot, and basically it just sleeves inside and you screw it in, you have a whole new flange. So this was kind of our route to not drop the black tank and to make a P-tube. Everybody's gonna do a different way. I made this little guy right here. I know, it's JB Weld. There's probably a proper fitting, but it's super strong. It's brass fitting. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in there. Hopefully they're nice comments. You know, sometimes you guys really rail me for doing things certain ways, but you know what? This is gonna work. I'm stoked on it. We're gonna finish it up, and then we'll have a composting toilet. It's interesting. These are the standard brackets that come with the Nature's Head. Normally it would go right here, but obviously this didn't work for us, and we didn't want to put holes way outside on our floor. We were trying to avoid putting holes like way out away from the toilet in case we do put it back to stock. Everything will be covered by the original toilet too. You know, you undo your two knobs. We just got this T bracket and screwed it in here. So you'll undo your two knobs to get the toilet out. And remember, this is only gonna be, you know, roughly once a month, give or take, depending on how many poops Melissa takes.
What about you and your poops?
I don't poop. You know, this would be hooked up. So we would just pull this out, undo those two things. We're gonna pop our lid off. You know, we would take our lid out, and then basically we would take this off. And then this is just gonna stay here while we dump our tank, or while we dump our chingadera in here. If you were just gonna do your vent and your power and just screw it to the floor, it's easy. It's really a simple job, but I had to build a little frame. I had to figure out the urine diverter that we're doing.
We had to cut the existing flange for the old toilet.
Yeah, so we had to do a little custom things, but I'm happy with how it came out, and I think that the little extra time we put now, obviously we're gonna save on not dumping the urine bucket once a day, probably more than once a day, which would not have been that fun.